You wake up, but it doesn't feel like waking up anymore. The days blur. The nights stretch longer. It feels like you're stuck in a place where nothing moves forward and everything around you is still. The mind becomes a prison, and the walls feel like they're closing in. We all face them. Times when strength is no longer something you feel, when energy, focus, and even hope seem distant, almost unreachable. The mind can play tricks, telling you stories about your limits, about failure, about how there's no way out of this space. You start believing it, and that's when the struggle becomes real. But here's the thing, right now, you're watching this because something inside of you, even if small, is still searching for a spark, an answer, something to pull you out of this haze.
So let's not talk about how you're going to fight this feeling or how you're going to break through. Let's talk about something deeper, something that doesn't happen in an instant, but grows slowly, quietly, in the background. Something that starts not with grand gestures, but with a whisper.
You know, it's one thing to trust God in the light, it's another thing to trust God in the dark. It's one thing to trust God when you think you got it figured out and you're getting what you want, and you can understand what's going on. It's another thing entirely to not get what you asked for, to have no understanding at all of why or what is happening, and still be able to say, God, I trust you.
Building back up doesn't happen overnight. It's in the quiet moments, the moments when you think no one sees or cares, but it starts with you, noticing, moving, breathing, building.
That's the kind of faith we're after, and you know what? That's the kind of faith that the world needs to see.
It's not about making the world brighter all at once. It's about noticing. Noticing the tiny moments when you do move, when you get up, even if you didn't feel like you could. When you take one breath that feels a little lighter than the last. It's the smallest shift, but it's there. And once you notice it, it grows.
God works in the dark. It's the first thing he teaches us about him in the book of Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness covered the face of the deep. It covered the face of the deep, but it didn't stop God from moving, because the Spirit of God moved in the midst of darkness. He didn't wait for day before he moved. He moved in the darkness. If you're going through a dark place, if you're going through a void, if you're going through an absence, if you're going through an emptiness, it doesn't stop God from moving. The Spirit of the Lord moved upon the face of the waters.
The mind will try to pull you back. It'll whisper that none of this matters, that you're still stuck. But there's one thing you have now that you didn't have before. You've started. The shift has already begun. You may not feel it fully, but in this moment, in these quiet steps, you've already started building yourself back up.
Dark times don't last forever, but they do change us. The question is, what will you do in the midst of them? Will you wait, or will you start noticing the moments where you rise, however small?
You think this is it? You think this is how it ends? This is the part where you find out who you are when everything feels broken, when you're at the bottom, when it feels like you got nothing left to give. That's when it counts. That's when it matters most. And don't you dare look away from it.
That's the kind of faith the world needs to see. People are looking at us. You put a bumper sticker on your car, people are watching your character. Come on. And they don't want to just see your bumper sticker, they want to see the fruit in your life.
There's something inside you that hasn't quit yet. I don't care how heavy the weight feels, it hasn't crushed you. I don't care how tired you are, you're still breathing, and as long as you're breathing, there's more in you. You've got one more step, one more push, and that's all it takes to keep going. One step, one breath, that's what separates you from giving up. So take it.
You hear me? You get up. You drag yourself forward if you have to. Crawl, stumble, whatever it takes. But you don't stop. The only thing stopping you right now is the voice telling you that you can. And that voice, it's lying.
This is the moment that matters. Not when it's easy, not when it's comfortable, but right now, when it's the hardest, when everything's telling you to quit, that's when you dig deeper. And if you think you don't have any more to give, you're wrong. You've barely scratched the surface of what's inside you. Get up and prove it.
We're not only talking to people here today, but millions of people all over the world by TV. People that are going through horrendous things, people that are hurting, people that have had unfair things happen to you, and it seems to you like God's forgotten all about you. Well, He hasn't. He hears you and He sees you. Can I tell you today that you're not invisible? God knows exactly where you're at, and He knows exactly what's going on in your life, and He knows exactly how much you can take and how much you can't take, and He may not be early, but He won't be late. God will deliver you at just the right time.